gentlemen, the President of the United States, accompanied by His Excellency Wim Kok, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the Right Honorable Tony Blair, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, His Excellency Massimo D'Alema, President of the Council of Ministers of the Italian Republic, and His Excellency Gerhard Schroeder, Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany.
Good afternoon. I'm Al Fromm, President of the Democratic Leadership Council. Welcome to this historic forum entitled The Third Way, Progressive Governance for the 21st Century. We are honored today by the presence of so many international leaders of the Third Way. The Democratic Leadership Council is an idea action center dedicated to developing Third Way philosophy and a Third Way governing agenda. We are gratified and amazed to see similar themes cropping up all over the democratic world. 10 years ago this week, Governor Bill Clinton agreed to become chairman of the DLC. Many of the new Democrat themes Many of the new Democrat themes and ideas developed during his chairmanship have defined the Third Way in America, and as president, he has put them into action. Shortly after the 1992 election, we were first visited by a member of the shadow cabinet, Tony Blair, who was beginning his efforts to modernize the Labor Party in the United Kingdom. How far we've come in just one decade. Today's event is the latest in a series of conversations on Third Way politics that began at Chequers in November 1997 and continued last year at the White House and New York University. Today, 3 key continental leaders are joining this global conversation. And before I talk about what we're going to do today, I want to recognize the one American who has done more to get this conversation underway than any other, the First Lady of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton. This forum comes against the backdrop of NATO's 50th anniversary celebration. It will focus on new social and political questions posed by economic change and globalization. Its purpose is to highlight the common values and priorities that motivate Third Way leaders as they seek to strike a new balance between the imperatives of economic dynamism and social justice. Whether they're called New Democrats, New Labor, or the New Middle, the values, ideas, and approaches to governing of the Third Way are modernizing center-left politics around the globe. They are grounded in a public philosophy that embodies fundamental progressive principles furthered by innovative ideas and modern means. The Third Way philosophy can be summarized this way. Its first principle and enduring purpose is equal opportunity for all, special privilege for none. Its public ethic is mutual responsibility. Its core value is community. Its outlook is global, and its modern means are fostering private sector economic growth, today's prerequisite for opportunity for all, and promoting an empowering government that equips citizens with the tools they need to get ahead. To lead our discussion, I'm honored to turn the program over to the man whose leadership has shaped the third way, the President of the United States.
Thank you very much. I'd like to begin just by expressing my profound gratitude to Al Fromm and to all the people at the Democratic Leadership Council for having the passion and the patience to work at this for years and years and years. I, too, want to thank Hillary and the Hardy band within the White House who keep us focused on the big ideas and values that got us here in the first place. And I'd like to say a special word of thanks to my friend and aide, Sidney Blumenthal, for the work that he's done in trying to put this meeting together. I would also like to just very briefly say how very much I admire the people who are here with me at this table today. How much I have learned from them, how much I look forward to working with them at every opportunity. Wim Kok from the Netherlands actually was doing all this before we were. He just didn't know that he didn't have anybody like Al Fromm who could put a good label on it. But he was doing it for years and years and years. Tony Blair has made me long for a parliamentary system. Gerhard Schroeder had to wait even longer than I did, and was also a distinguished governor. And Massimo D'Alema has proved that I think, I make you a prediction here, I think he is already proving that even in Italy, where governments tend to be like the flavor of the month for ice cream, that the right sort of politics can have a sustained long-term impact on some of the most wonderful people in the world. So I'm honored to be here with all of them. I'd like to thank my friend and ally, Congressman Cal Dooley, who's out there, the Secretary of Transportation, Rodney Slater, and the Secretary of the Army, Luis Caldera, who've helped me in so many ways. And we're going to hear afterward from Lieutenant Governor Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, former governor and Democratic Party Chairman Roy Romer, Mayor Wellington Webb of Denver, and Commissioner Michael Thurman. I thank them. All of you know we've just finished a 3-day NATO conference celebrating the 50th anniversary of NATO, bringing in new members, celebrating an astonishing partnership with over 40 countries, including the countries of Southeastern Europe, all except for Serbia, and the countries of Central Asia, in this amazing new group, which itself is full of third-way questions. At our last luncheon, one of the members made a crack that we had 5 members of the last Politburo of the Soviet Union sitting around our table today. And another one said, yes, and a lot of the rest of us should have been on the Politburo, but we weren't. And it was a picture of how much the world has changed. What gives rise to this kind of politics? When the old order is destroyed, or when the realities of daily life or popular dreams can no longer be accommodated by a given set of political arrangements or a political debate. We see that in Southeastern Europe today with the crisis of Kosovo, where the old choice is between state stability and being consumed by ethnic hatreds. And what we're arguing for is a new integration based on the embrace of difference, not the oppression of it. I would like to just pose a couple of questions and then let our panelists take off. You heard Al Fromm say that basically our lodestars have always been in the United States the concept of opportunity, responsibility, and community. We've worked on this for years. We've tried to think of simpler and more complex ways to say what we stand for, but we've never done any better than that. And so I think I will just leave it there. But let me say, what could that mean in the present time? What is giving rise to all these people's elections? Why is this happening everywhere? It's not some blind coincidence. I believe it is because the social arrangements which were developed within countries and the international arrangements among them, which grew up from the Great Depression through the Second World War and then the Cold War, are no longer adequate to meet the challenges of the day. And most of the parties of the right made a living by beating us in elections by saying how bad we were. And we were always for more government and they were for less of it. And if you thought it was by definition bad, then less is always better than more. So they had quite a run in the 1980s. And then it became readily apparent that didn't really solve any problems.
Of course, we could tell a lot of stories here, and we could tell about a lot of different experiences. There's no time for that. Why don't we promote a direct communication at this level, among these experiences at the community level? So we four here belong to a movement. We meet occasionally, don't we, among ourselves in other fora? And this movement is a movement that, for example, has promoted a very beautiful conference of mayors. Mayors belonging to the Socialist International from all over the world. We hosted it in Italy, of local authorities. And we had a beautiful discussion among local authorities from mayors from Latin America, from Europe, from many continents. Now, I wonder, shouldn't we create a form of communication with these extraordinary experiences you're telling us about? Find direct form of communications between the experience we four belong to, the movement we four belong to, and your great experience. There's a big problem here that would have to be discussed elsewhere. It concerns the words we use. There are words that in your civilization, in your history, sound difficult to understand or to accept. For example, we belong to the Socialist International, and I'm aware that this word is somewhat sensitive here. And I can see that we have avoided pronouncing this word here, but we should prevail over this fear of words. Because when we move from the words to the actual facts and the actual experiences, we discover that these experiences are much closer and more similar than they're expected to be. And we should find a form of communication among these experiences who would make us all richer. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Yes, I'm not sure I would even have you here, Massimo, if I were running for re-election. No, I'll tell you a serious story. Hillary and I went to Italy over a decade ago, and we were in northern Italy, and I met these Italian communists who were anti-Soviet Union, pro-NATO, and pro-free enterprise. And I thought to myself, I've got to be very careful about what words mean anymore. It was amazing.